Check. How you doing, everybody? So you got a little time to go and get yourself a nice bathroom break, get a snack, and come back because we're about to get really big and bad and interesting up in here. Yes, it is the virtual period party, and we are about to have the most interesting conversation. And I'm so excited about this because this is something that was considered impossible before, but nothing is impossible. Everything is impossible until it is done. All right. So before I get into the conversation, I want to say another big up to our sponsor, Curves, for being on board with us today because we are making some serious changes. Now, we want to say welcome to everybody who's just joining on us on this live. And I want to say thank you to the folks who joined us on the previous conversation because, of course, for those who were there, that it was absolutely amazing. And we're about to get even better now because we are talking to fathers. Yes, I said it. We're going to be talking to men today about menstruation. And it is so important for us to talk to men about menstruation because for a very long time, girls are taught that they should hide their period so well that they should ensure that they never have to expose anybody, any male to their periods, especially the fathers. When I was growing up, there was a rule that if you have your period, nobody should be able to tell. So when you go in the bathroom, you have to be able to wrap up everything. I have to hide it, and they must never see the product. They must never know that there's a period going on. And if you mess up yourself, you have to hide that. Sometimes we sleep and wake up and we mess up the sheet. We have to hide that. But the whole thing is, it's a nice secret that we must learn to keep, especially from the men in our lives. Now, I'm happy to report that that paradigm is shifting. I'm happy to report that there are fathers who are getting very involved in their life, in the lives of the women around them when it comes to their periods. Because let's face it, we are all here because of a period. We're here because our mothers had a period, right? So we really want to talk about some of the experiences that these fathers have had and just some of the things that we can do as women to help them help us. So I'm very excited by the panel that we have here this morning. And I'm not going to introduce all of them to you one time. We're going to introduce them to you one because each of them have their own story and their own vibe. And we're going to jump right into it. Now, this gentleman is a very close friend of mine, and he don't know that him a come first. I'm just going to throw him in at the gutter because he knows how to deal with things, and he's just going to jump out at the thing big and bad. I'm talking, of course, about my good friend Ryan Bailey, and he is a father, and he also has been exposed to some of the work that we have been doing with HerFlow, and so I really felt that it was necessary for him to be a part of the conversation this morning because of he's really very in tune with women and some of the things that we go through. So Ryan, good morning.
Morning to you. How you do?
So I'm doing just fine. So I just want to
And
start by asking
I come to the party, me I love on red shirt. Well,
I know.
Yeah, I go up already night. I heard that it was a party, so I'm come to enjoy the party.
You come to enjoy it as it should be. As it should be, and I really appreciate your presence. So I want to ask you right away, what are your thoughts on menstruation from a man's point of view? Because we are, from the woman's point of view, we have been taught all our lives to keep periods away from you so that you don't have to experience it, so you don't have to see that we're having it. So what are your thoughts on that whole culture and just what you think about periods overall?
Well, obviously, I think that being here would mean that I think that it is a discussion that needs to be had. I am here because I think it's important for us to try to normalize the whole conversation of things that are happening in our society and with women in particular. For me, I grew up in a household with Wolipa man. My brothers are Wolipa brothers I have. But in any case, the subject of, although it was a liberal household, the subject of period was kind of taboo. And it was not until something very serious happened to my mother that we realized that this is something that ought not to be in a closet but to be spoken about. She fell ill and dropped down nearly dead because she was hemorrhaging. I had no clue as to what to do or what is what or what was happening really. But fortunately, I was able to call a 911 system in where I grew up that actually worked, and the people were very kind, so that they when they asked me what was happening, I could describe what was happening, and they helped me as to what to do. So you want to see me I put things in a bag and try to fix up, find everything, so that when the ambulance came, that she would be all right, so that
Yeah.
in my mind, trying to maintain some of her dignity. But in
Of
any
course.
case, that situation, it turned out that she had fibroids. And that is a thing that I learned afterwards, that a lot of women within our community have that issue. So it led me along the path to try to understand and to study what it meant and the kind of things that they had to go through. So, um, to make the long story short, mother had to have a what is called a hysterectomy. My father
Mm-hmm.
was totally against it, so he brought home all kind of information. I remember reading a book called The Hysterectomy Hoax. So he thought that you didn't have to do that, but instead of doing that, that you could eat, you could change how you eat and what you ate,
Right.
in order for life to be comfortable and for you to shrink them. Anyway, she didn't think that, so she opted to go the route of the surgery. Um, for me, it was something that it was an interesting time, because I saw the dynamics between a man who loved his woman. I said, don't do that, but obviously she has to have the control over her own decision and her own body.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
during that journey, I learned a hell of a lot. I remember at one point going shopping with her, and in the car, and when she come out, I noticed that, oh, and whole heap of blood. But I said something to her, and then she come back and she sat down, not realizing that, these are the same boys that you raised. We understand what go on, just talk. But she didn't talk, and I didn't think that it was my place to say anything. But in any case, I got out of the car, find a little jacket to wrap around her. She wrapped around the jacket and she went into the drugstore. We never said one word about it, even afterwards. Up to this day, we didn't talk about it, but I knew what was happening. And the research led me to a point where we kind of understand, said, this thing is a natural thing. It is going to happen. It will happen. And without it, we cannot be here. So
Right.
that kind of shaped my perspective as to how to deal with period, and to have a certain level of comfort as to how to talk about it. Um, as far as my experiences outside of that, I've been fortunate to in my relationships to have people who are open, people where no, I haven't had a relationship with closed-minded people, so this has never been a taboo subject in my personal relationships, and
Right.
and it this journey into trying to normalize the conversation is one that I feel it's important for us to be a part of. And I think that if we find women who understand that the process should include men and
Yeah.
know how to bring us in the conversation, I think that we would have a much better understanding as to what is going on. um, for me, as your friend, and as a whole heap of other things dealing with what you're doing, I have been exposed to the situation of periods in a upfront and kind of close way, with students who experience excruciating pain
Yeah.
emotionally and physically whilst they're having their period. And you can imagine, as a man, not having no clue as to what is happening, why the picnic gone lay down on the floor, why she can't complete her homework, why she don't want to go to school. All of these things I have been exposed to whilst being on the road with you. And I think that there's a way to change that. And the way to change that is to have a discussion or a forum like this, where you have men, not necessarily fathers, but just men in general, trying to understand what happens during that time. How do we manage ourselves in that time?
Yeah.
How do we make you comfortable in that time? And how we make ourselves
Yeah.
comfortable too? Because you can certainly be miserable in that time there too. So
Of course.
so that's my view.
Well, thank you so much. You said so many important things. why is it important for us to have conversations with the men in our lives? And I do agree that it's not just fathers that must be a part of the conversation, but I start with fathers because they are in a position to make an immediate impact, and I want to make sure that they have the tools that they need to do that. But I do believe that every man should be a part of this conversation, and I think this whole hiding the period away from the man part of it must stop, because as I said before, I don't care what the question is, ignorance is never the answer. And I think a lot of the challenges that we have with men not understanding the things that we go through comes from the fact that we don't open enough to them, and we don't tell them, especially the things that make us feel hurt or make us feel vulnerable. So that is something that as women we really do have to address. So thank you so much for that,
It's not
Ryan.
just as women, is that we have a society that is based upon principles of patriarchy, and
Yes.
some of the religious teaching with that shows that says rightly that it's an unclean time for a woman, not understanding. So it leads to form an opinion, and that
Yes, it is.
opinion
And I
can
don't
be.
want you to start that part of the conversation there. Yes, we're getting there.
I
I
don't
want you
want
to
to
write that
censor
thought
me.
down and remember it. We're coming back to it.
All right, so I'm gonna shut up then.
Just for now. Just for
I'll
now.
let you mute then.
Just for now. But we're coming back to it without a doubt.
All
And
right.
as he mentions that, I want to move on to another gentleman who's also a father. And this gentleman, you see him around a lot, and he's going to tell us his business. Um, we're talking about Mr. Ellis. He's one half of probably Jamaica's most famous comedic duo, IT Ellis. He's also a father, and he's the only man who lives in a house full of women. Lucky him. So we want to find out from him for him to give us some insight on his experience where period is concerned. Because there's no way he can live in a house full of women and don't have no experience with period. That's just impossible as far as we're concerned. But continue.
I tell you, my experiences are varying, a number of experiences for years. But I would like to say, just as Ryan said, I'm happy to be a part of this discussion, and just by my decision to be a part of it, an agreement to be a part of it, is indicative of how I feel about it. And it cannot escape me that I should feel this way because of my experience living with my daughters and my wife, right? Now, I want to quickly say that how I was socialized, born and grown in Trenchtown in the garrison, I was socialized in a way when I was growing up. I mean, period wasn't a thing that it wasn't a conversation that we were a part of. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up as a young boy, just picking up certain female clothes off the line was taboo for us.
You mean panty and brassiere?
You see, it's just even though when my mother grew up, I still try to find the euphemism
Avoid
and thing. Yes,
panty.
So I'm taking it back to where I was. So exactly. So when I went there to my upbringing, that was where I was. We have to make sure, But it's true though, seriously, panty and brassiere and those things.
Yes.
We can't allow our friends to see us taking up off the line because you'd be ridiculed. That is the social construct from which I came. That was I was. And in the garrison, and I'm sure it's still present in some areas where we treat it differently. Now, I would say often that as God would have it, I would have only daughters to grow up. And the thing is, they are now the younger of my two daughters, she's now 18, which means I have had to experience period and menstruation from everybody inside the household for a lot of years, a number of years now. And it's interesting too, that I must share real quickly, that the younger of the two, when she had her first period, I was doing a show, and Shelly would have known the story. I was doing a show at the Pegasus at the end of the year. So I remember the date so well, it was Boxing Day, and I was doing Christmas coming to cook up, and I was at the hotel, and Karen was away from the hotel at the room at the time, and I see my daughter come out and said, "Daddy, it's here." And like, what's here? It's my period. I'm so, whoa. So now the first time, this time it's here. Now what do I do? Now I decided to, so to get the necessary sanitary napkins. So I left the hotel. It's New Kingston, it's Pegasus. So I left the hotel, went up to the gas station right there at the corner near inside the police station. I went inside, and the difficulty was trying to decide what kind, what brand, what size, what kind of absorbency. Is it the overnight?
Right.
I struggle with that. And then, I took up a few of them and food choices, and I went to the cashier. And as I approached the cashier, my brother said, "Yo, IT, what that dog?" as I remember, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And I said, "What? What you mean? What you mean? All them things they are buy?" And before I could open my mouth to defend myself, the cashier said, "Leave the man. A real man this." And then a real man. I'm explaining to her, I say, "It's for my daughter, And I'd say, "It's for him daughter." And I say, "It's our first time, so I don't know what to buy." And she assisted me, told me the right size to buy the right brand, and I bought it. Run up, get back to that first experience. I cannot forget that. And I was saying to myself, I said it even last evening, that it must have been something in how we are socialized, or she was socialized, to feel comfortable at that first time to say, "Daddy, it's here," And I'm really thankful for that. I don't know what exactly I did or we did, but I'm really thankful that we had that kind of openness. So that is the genesis of my experience with periods, and it is still continuing.
Boy, I'm always very touched when you tell that story, because I think you're right. There is something in how you relate to your daughter that made her feel comfortable enough to come to you in that moment and say it to you. Because let me tell you, there are some little girls right now who is in the house alone with them father and can't handle that because of the kind of relationship that she have with him. So I think you should definitely feel very proud about that, because that says something about you and how you have been relating to your children. So I think you should be able to just feel very, very good that you are doing something right.
I give my mother the credit, because I am what you call a wash belly. Very close to my mother, boy, everywhere. My siblings think that I'm spoiled because my mother really put everything into our last boy.
Right.
And the values that she imparted, must have been the ones that are present now in my life.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you, Mommy. Big up your damn self. And thank you, IT, for that story. Don't move. I'm not finished with you yet. Right now, I want to move on to another gentleman.
It's in my red tie.
No, man, I said that. I did not miss it. I appreciate it. Big up your red tie. Big up your wardrobe. Okay. So I want to move on to another gentleman. His name Shy, but I had a very, very good reasoning with him the other day, and I thought that he would be very powerful to be a part of this session. Of course, I'm talking about Markai Young. Mr. Young, step forward, please. Now, I had a really good conversation with him and the other guest who is on this live with us this morning. And we were talking about some of the things that they had to actually do as fathers, which are some of the things that forced them out of their comfort zone. And I just thought it was so important to share, because there are a lot of things that we are missing out on just because we are afraid to step outside of our comfort zone. So Markai, tell me about your experience.
All right. Blessed love. All right. I grew in Garrison, seeing with my mother, 3 sisters, 3 brothers. And we had the settings that said we never have a whole heap of room. So we have to stay in a couple room with the sisters. So when them sit for them time a month, we used to live close by and used to sew our go on. So we kind of did used to it. We never really afraid of it. See me, but mommy never really explained it to it. See?
Right.
So start now as a young youth now, start go as a Rasta man, start go bubble hill. Me I hear about this separation with the woman over here, one over there. I'm go up to go see it for myself, and I say, yeah, it's a nice order, I like it and thing. But and then I get my wife now, and I have to deal with my wife, sit down with her, and when fair time a month now, I have to hold out, and me deal with her and see the pain and everything she have got through. I have to get involved because, it's something I'm never afraid of, because I kind of have a little know about it. You see me, and then my daughter now, I have 2 daughters, I have Sai and Shiloh. Sai is 13. She can't wait. My wife organize everything for her, a little pouch, everything. She can't wait. She just knock. Daddy, it's so come. Daddy, hey. And it's kind of annoying one time. I said, little girl, just quiet yourself. You see me?
Right.
Yeah, but the time come now. She time to deal with it, and she want daddy to rub her back. She want daddy because she feel the pain and the cramps and the thing them. So as a man, I'm not growing up father, and me, me not growing up father, and me always want my daughter them. So I always say, you put up my all in my daughter them. So it come on to period time, I have to just do the real thing, because the real thing, because we have a next one coming, Shiloh. She at 10 right now. Seeing? So I kind of prepare me now. Shiloh.
Right.
Yeah, so I kind of like what going because it make me, I never to have an understanding about the period thing and things. So my daughter and my wife now, I get a full understanding about it. And I get to, because we never have no mother and no auntie and nobody who could have go to and say, auntie, tell you about that now.
Right.
And nothing like that.
Right.
We never got support there. So we have to ask for the girlfriend them, and the girlfriend them kind of shy to tell about them thing, because them feel like say it's something bad. And we as a youth, we just want to know, because we want the girlfriend, we want to know what going with the girlfriend them. You see me?
Yeah.
So and the girlfriend them ask about how things set up, and me I tell them, and I say, you want to learn about Tony now. You see me? But them feel like it's true, man. No, everybody shop on certain things. People make it look like say that little dirty thing, so them kind of feel shame, even reason. But me, when I in the shop, I tell them, so give me a top shelf bread there.
Top shelf bread.
In the shop. You see me? I'm Maurice can tell you, but we're not afraid to do them mission there because me pre-woman is a great thing to just put on the land. See? So if a woman want help out from a real king, the king have to do that and make sure the thing govern.
That's probably the most powerful thing you said, because if you're going to be in the presence of women and they need your help, you have to do it. And at the moment, it's not about your comfort, because right now she's in pain. And whatever you feel, it's worse for her. So right now, you just have to put down your little ego and step up like a real man that you are and help her. That's what kings do. That is how they are.
And to tell you, say, me know how me grow that way, come to be a man like this, because me don't know, because me not growing a father, me get my one daughter and wife now, me just self-taught. Like everything just come natural to me. Like me just nobody never uncle, nobody never there around there for sure. Me say, when you grow your daughter, so you're supposed to grow them and this and that. So it just come natural to me, because I realize enough man I run from just being a father. We just stand up in the house and say, yo, me a real man, I'm there. You see me? Enough man I run because I'm not going to tell about that part.
No man, we'll get into that, but we want to hear from Maurice first. We're going to get into that. And I thank you so much for sharing. Because listen, you see that thing that way you say you're self-taught, a lot of us had to figure things out yourself, So you can't just leave it and say, they never grow yourself. You're grown now. Now that you're grown, what you going to do?
You understand?
You have woman running, your daughter depends on you. You have to figure it out. So respect so much for that, because that's a good point. So right now, we want to move on.
Hold on there, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for think about me to be part of this, because I like the reason I'm saying. Enough man child from this. Saying, so blessed love.
And I thank you so much for sharing, because we know the society where we live in, and I don't even know if you understand what we are doing right here. So with this whole experience that we have right now, we are changing lives with this. So just feel very good in our way I do right now, because this is important.
You know that still, if I have 5 man can say yes, them come do it. First time you couldn't even find one.
You don't have to tell me enough, no, me get. But thank you so much, Markai. Yeah, man, we want to move on to Maurice now. Now, Maurice, I'm very excited to talk to Maurice, because he is actually a single father in one. him children have. So he has to get really into the business of period business. So we really want to give him a moment. Maurice, morning to you. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. We had a really, really good reasoning the other day, and I mean, I'm gonna stop chat you since. I hope your ears ringing. But we really just want to talk to you this morning about your personal journey and your experience that you have had where periods are concerned.
Greetings. Big respect to the ones them. What I call them now, my co-workers them, were they're on the program too. You know what I mean, Mark, IT, Ryan. You know what I mean. Yeah, big respect for there. So the ones them, and it happened as Mark is a 1 hour. We grow together. We're cousins, so you know what I mean. We have that relationship. Ryan, we have some background attached to him. It's the first time ever. I mean, the surrounding with IT like this. So, but the ones that we look up to, so it's a big respect, the audience to them, and the platform with them too, big up to your sponsors to Curves, But yeah, my stories, there's so much of them, but there, so I try to talk, we pick the first one. So, all right, so, we grew up in a household with, a lot of women, they were always around us. I remember one time, with one of my mother workers, she make a mistake and left her napkin in the bathroom and thing. I don't even remember if it was a napkin, but she used something else. But I went into the bathroom and I saw it, and I brought my mother attention to it, and my mother was very, very, very angry about it. And the most thing that she was talking about at the time too, is to allow our boys, because she had 2 boys, me and my younger brother, to be exposed to this, and she was very angry about it. I remember next time too, when my cousins all of them were there on the summer holidays, so it's about 7-8 girls in the house at the time. And they were, have this little paint pan in one little corner, burned something. And I was the only boy there, and I was very curious. And I try to get to them to see what them are doing, and then push my way and then move over to the next part of the yard where that area was fenced off, the gate and everything, where we have like a farming and garbage and thing. We were burning and thing, and then went to that area now to the garbage heap with the paint pan. And to be honest, is when I turn man, I realize why that happened. Because I get beaten for my cut, but them shoot me down from the bag wire. But I never get to see it. I look at nosy self. And at the same time, nobody never explained to me why that happened. And I end up grow up now, I end up have daughters. It happened as, when me start by myself with them, one was nearly 3 and the other one was 5, Leela, the older one, she starts seeing her period at about age 11, during the summer at the time too, she was, funny enough, it was that like the both of them was in the bathroom. I don't know what happened or it started, but I remember when the younger one come to me and said, Daddy, Leela see her period and I see it, I'm like, it catch me off guard, they get where I deal like, what the next move, but like, she don't have a little pouch where, because we have a lot of women in the family and them they'd already set her up with her thing and thing. So she'd have her little thing them, so her little sister they'd move towards it and thing and get it to her and thing, Recently now, big respect to Curves. I love how I choose that brand at the time too. Went into the supermarket to get some stuff there and thing. And I remember when I'm in the supermarket, at first it kind of feel like, oh, yeah, but then I say, yo, my dad has to do my business, you see me? I'm going there though, she specifically told me about the teenage ones, that because before I leave, I said, what you do again? And she said, the teenage ones, But when I went in there was nothing about teenage or anything about that. So it have me away for a while, till I call over a lady and she come over and thing and I explain to her what the situation and thing, and she started showing me the next brand and thing. But the Curves, to be honest, I I remember the package. That was what I remember. That this is the one I always share with me, the package. So
Okay.
yeah, and I mean, so I walk over to that one and I was explaining to the lady, said, this is the one I know. I mostly see her with this, the other one look familiar too, but this package is the one I know. And then I start seeing the overnight. That was what I choose it over everything too.
Because it's an overnight.
It said overnight, and I know now if she's asleep, and because I've experiences with spills, I mean, because them in the house, I don't remember, we culture away as man to, what I mean, when you say all them things, if you see it on your sheet, you get mad and your cousin,
Yeah.
what I mean, them woman feel embarrassed about it and them thing that I don't remember at any point in time when I ever get angry, what I mean, where that is concerned. Like, it's just like I'm used to it. It's like it's a norm. And based on how me look for a woman to as the portal between the physical and the spiritual and what they have done for humanity. I mean, I have this highly respect for women, so it never a thing that I feel ashamed of to even get involved with, in a them sense that, I don't know, maybe because I'm growing with a whole heap of woman and them thing, but it's never a feeling where you feel like, and because of that, I'm not have nobody else. I mean, like, who me gonna call? You get me? Where you have to run go to the neighbor to come help you with your daughter and her situation. No, I mean, you're there, you deal with it, and I think big respect to you too, because me never need know to for real, like, it make it open up with the other fathers them now for make one know now. So there are a whole lot more fathers out there and men out there that want to get included into these conversations. We want to understand them some more, so we can. But the thing is that the space or the platform have never presented itself to us for us to be a part of it. I mean, and a big respect to you, HerFlow Foundation. Big respect. I mean, I feel like it's something this. I feel like this is something I forgot. Like, bigger, like international. I mean, like,
don't worry, we're working on it.
Yeah, because I think as Ryan touched a couple of topics, so we're not to want to jump the gun yet. But I think based on how we've been cultured, I mean, you go to the shop for chew, it wrap up in a whole heap of newspaper. I mean, you never see it, and you get to associate with it like everything else in the shop. Condom or something, you just say condom. When you go, you mentioned condoms, but when you go to the shop, like, condom is the first thing you see it hang up in the showcase right in front of you. You know what I mean? And and sanitary napkins are way, Mark, I just call them top shelf bread. Them the way over one corner in one place. And one time you got, what I mean? And it's here Renee mentioned something. I mean? It's like something that as youth, so we grew up. Remember that clear like just yesterday, where you walk into the shop, and if somebody buy that, nobody don't want it to depend on the counter with them food. You get me? Yes. Like, yo, it's clean, bro. Like, nobody didn't use it yet. It just come from the factory. You get me? So
exactly.
It's that stigma that, and I remember, like, I remember once too, when I was in about I think grade 4 or grade 5, a girl in my class, like, she is like her first time and I never find it, everybody in the class a laugh, and that day I never find it funny. Like, me even shame fear, like, I just did want even for cover up, but as a youth, if you're going near it now, everybody starts scanning you get me, I deal with, and and she started cry. I remember at the time, be honest, I remember her name clear right now too, what I mean? I never find it funny. It just never funny to me, what I mean? And I realize why now to me that I end up get 2 daughters. I have to know my mentality, it have to develop in a way now for me can angle them. The next one she don't reach a state yet, but I think I'm more experienced now. What I mean, for take on this. As we said before, I mean, it's learning on the job, but it's a great experience, and I think more fathers, more men, I mean, we should, I mean, it's necessary, because then women would be less uncomfortable to have these discussions if we now stop behaving like some caveman, I mean, and shun them and these things, So I think it's a thing, because me never have no choice, I mean, me have nobody to do it for me, I mean, and who would ever do it, who would ever take care of her, who would ever make certain things by, You know what I mean? Who would have the conversations with her? You know what I mean?
That's your job. You had to step up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And we're built to that right now. A normal conversation, you know what I mean? And nothing for nobody shy away from, you know what I mean? You just the routine, you know what I mean? If me go out, she would just tell me, so yo, get some of them thing there, you know what I mean? And I get some napkins and thing, you know, and you know, it's not nothing where, you know, and me have discussions because one of the main thing though, what I realized though, as young girls, them tend for such shy, so sometimes them don't get disposed properly. Them end up having it on them.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I want to address that. But before I get into it, because I'm looking at the time, and I want to ask you one question, all of you to answer before I leave. And you touch on so many important things, chief of which I think is the idea that men need to be more open to having these discussions. This caveman attitude, now we're again. Caveman out of style. We're done with caveman business. So right now, we really need men to be open and ready to learn, because we can always want to share, you know, but if they're not interested in sharing with us, then it's not going to be complete. So that is such an important point that you brought up. And you also brought up the fact that if you don't do it, who will do it? Your father. That's your dear. So what you're going to do? Walk up and down and try to find the first woman and call her and say, Miss, come here. You really have to get involved.
Have to deal with it. Because IT situation, him could have just run outside and find anybody, a woman that must be there. But the man has said, no, my private life, this.
Well, there you go. So I'm glad you brought that up. And okay, so gentlemen, all of you know, I'm gonna give each of you a chance to answer this question. And it really is, what do you have to say to the men who are watching us right now? Because some men are watching, you know, them now go admit to it, some of them. And they're going to see it on other platforms. Tell me one thing that you want to communicate to them to make them understand that, listen, this is not something to be afraid of, and this is something that we can participate in to remove the shame and the stigma where periods are concerned, and that they can get more involved. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. What is that one message that you want to share with a gentleman who's going to get to see this, that you want to make him understand about periods?
Well, I think that people live their lives, and I believe that you live your life as a light. So people can only follow from the examples that they see. So once you are living and you're doing the things that you do, then people will be influenced by that. And that influence will in turn get one person to the next, to the next. It is a journey to normalize a particular point of view and a particular series of actions. So for it to be normalized, that would mean that we don't have to force anything on anybody, because whenever you're forcing, force means resistance. So it would mean that we bring these things up in subtle ways. We present ourselves and present it in a way where people can see that it is natural. Just like how we have to go to the shop and buy toilet paper, is the same way that we have to buy the sanitary napkins and so on. So once we start living that, make that a part of our normal lives, people will come on to it. The brethren said earlier on that he has a number of, I think he said 2 daughters, and him have to purchase them. So when people see these things now and more, man will look like me and everybody else on this, I do that, then people will feel comfortable. So it's just about dispelling the myths that the society has created around period. The brother touched on the point where he spoke of the condoms being on a shelf where everybody can see. We have to look at it to say that there was a campaign that went into that. So the same campaign that went into that for people to see that, okay, with the use of this, you can protect yourself from diseases, you can protect yourself from unwanted pregnancies, etc. Then these things work. It's the same sort of campaign that would have to be employed in order for us to see the value of having the pads and present it in a way where people don't have to be ashamed, both male and female.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ryan. So, IT, I'm going to move on to you now. Same question.
Well, I think I would have answered it in my life already. It's important, and I really must thank you again. I really feel extra special. This is an extraordinary moment. It shouldn't have been extraordinary, but it is because of the socialization, the culture that we live in. For me, Maurice, Mark, and of course Ryan, to have this conversation. Big up on yourself, really and truly big up on yourself. And it's also important to notice that I am here with men who are wearing locks, who embrace a certain kind of faith, because that's an important part of the discussion also. So it shows different men with different kind of lifestyles, but then we all embrace the one important thing is just to respect the natural flow that a woman must experience and will always experience, and that is as men says. The thing is, it's 2020. The world has evolved in so many different ways, and it's really backward for a man now to really view period for anything but the fact that it's a natural experience of female, and we have to be much more understanding all that we do towards women. Particularly for me, I'm a man of faith, and the word that I read teach me love. One of the greatest commandments is love, and it's not the kind of affectionate love that we talk about. It's the agape love, the unconditional love, and the word of God tell me about that. Corinthians tell me about that. Love is patient, love is kind. It's not selfish. Let me tell you something. I'll talk about selfish. I was going on a trip with my wife. I'll tell you something. It was a second trip. I went on a cruise. And the first time I went on a cruise, I didn't carry on the cruise. I went to perform and thing. And then they booked me again for the cruise. And the cruise is called Love and Harmony. So I said, the next time, I have to carry my wife. What a man doing on a cruise with all this nice thing without his wife. So luckily, I was booked for the second cruise. Now, let me tell you the story. What happened at the cruise now, we had to fly to Miami and connect in Fort Lauderdale, right? And it was, I think, 4 nights, 5 nights, 4 days, right? Excited, going on this cruise. It's called Love and Harmony. When we landed at the Fort Lauderdale airport, normally my wife said, "Oh boy, Mr. Wham, guess what?" Just like, guess what?
Blowing on the cruise.
I'll tell you something. I had to deal with that reality. And remember, it's not like we were coming back, It's when we landed.
Oh gosh.
We landed in Miami just to go on the cruise. So
I remember the plans that you had, the other plans that you had at the stage, man.
Yes, all the exciting plans. So I remember that, and as I talk about agape love, and love is not selfish, to remember that there are so many other ways to express love. And we have to be understanding and to really truly love in actionable ways, not just with our thoughts to say, but actionable ways, So I'm really imploring the men to consider this. And this, what you're doing now, is very important for us to consider, for men to see that, hey, all right, no, it really, I should be embarrassed to look at period any other way but this natural way, and to respect, understand women who experience period.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that, I think. Well, I hope you enjoy the cruise anyway. Okay. Same question.
Yeah, my question to the man them. More the man them for realize them daughters need them. Because I realize to they run my daughter, I realize them need them father. You see me, and most man run from them family and out there drink rum and boom. So I tell the man them, say please, me realize the daughter them need we can show them for dance and them something there, and we have to dey around them to make them know say no boy can't trick them to buy them no shoes and no little new phone and them thing there. Them can't say daddy can't buy me that. Boy go sit down.
Yeah.
You see me?
Mm-hmm.
So fathers need to know say that them need them. You see me? That's my thing. Enough man I run. I know why them I run. So all of the man them I telling them I talk to if you not listen. And the ladies them are upon this, can tell brother and uncle. Please tell them say them daughter them need them. See me? Yeah, because father, them have to see a strong father figure in the house. You can't know for angle them kind of dirty man them out of the road there. You see me? So
Oh,
I just say it there. So blessed love and big up your sponsor and big up everyone on this and Maurice and IT and the next far right. Bless up yourself. More strength and honor.
boy, trust me, you guys are making me so proud. And Maurice, you get the last word. What you have to tell the gentlemen them watching this? Maurice gone?
Yeah, I'm there, man. I'm there. Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, man. May I hear you?
All right. So I think me even said it before, but may I try connect with them and Kaya say a little bit too, and then say that you see girls, like how boys love them mother and attached to them mother, girls attached to them father. So bro, if you don't realize what that a teacher, you get me idea, you need to be around your daughter, you need to make sure you know everything about her. You get me idea, because enough time them really want to share with you. Them not really want to tell mommy, you know, because most time daddy more easy upon the girls than oh mommy that easy on her, you know what I mean? So should I want to share with you? You know, I'm gonna feel like if any man out there right now where a scan the lady them cycle and all them things that you are gonna start get scanned, brother. You get my idea? Because if you are come from a channel where that I come from, so if you feel like there's something bad about it, then something bad about you, bro. You get my idea?
Man, I feel like getting to spirit.
And we just need to move away from this caveman mentality. Is as IT says 2020 now. And brethren, when the Empress them like I tell us, yo, them must see them men's and them thing that you know want bother go link her. Best time to go link her, brother. If you tell yourself say you love that woman as him say unconditional love, you know what I mean? Because sometimes a man call a woman and I tell her say mom come over from she mentioned so she has the period and start go through him contacts. This is where them can call. Bro, other one day for them months, another night there, you get me? Or that day there or wherever, you get me? I think she are gonna need it the most now, because the next one in her that now she not feeling a pain right now and she not go through nothing right now, you know what I mean? So you just need to them amongst the one where feel pain and you know what I mean? Or she maybe find something nice to give her, some fruits and things, make she feel comfortable, bro. Because I think what we need as the ones them say, yo, move away from this shame thing about them thing, because you know what I mean, it's a part of human cycle, and you know what I mean, it's a one make all over there. And you know what I mean, we just need to embrace this some more. I will give thanks to you and you know, big up to your sponsor Curves, you know what I mean, for halfway. And as me, you know, I can tell you know, I volunteer my time, or you know what I mean, you know, we'll get as time with yourself first to commit to the movement now, you know what I mean, you know, say anything where you want to reach out to be a part of, you know what I mean, to strengthen this movement, we're depend on it. Because you know what I mean, the daughters them need we. And plus me still there like and this me also now to ask for help. Like me now, bridging them and my brother them out the way I watch this, so I feel shy about this, ask for help to understand, brother. Right now, me would love to talk with Shelly some more to understand more. Because I have two girls in my house and me want to make certain say them not catch no bacteria with me could have stopped. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And then I have to spend a bag of money. When I could have just walk in a store and maybe buy something for $200, then I have to spend one $20,000 or one $300,000 with some form of operation or something. So, you know what I mean? Get we involved, man. You know what I mean? We want to be a part of this. So whatever flag you have, we want to help you rise that flag, you know, and run with it, you know. So we can, you know, make the world know. So a time now to respect the flow. You get me?
Yeah.
Respect the flow. That I'm gonna work with that. Respect the flow. Why, Maurice? Why the whole lot gonna make me entire Thursday? I knew this was going to be good, but you guys exceeded my expectations. I thank you so much for joining us. I don't even want to add anything to what I just said. I think you said it all, and I'm so proud that you guys were able to be here with me today, because at the time when I was thinking of trying to put a panel together of men who were open to having this type of conversation, I really had to wrap my brain. And I must be honest with you, I asked some other men and them tell me absolutely not impossible. And not only is it possible, it has really, really just blown outside of the water. And you guys should take a chance and look at the comments, because the people watching are really appreciating it. And yes, this is going to be the first of many conversations like this. So brace yourself because you might need to be my ambassadors. But I'm definitely going to be calling on all of you. So thank you so much, Ryan, IT, Maurice, Markai. Thank you guys so much for joining me today because this is so important and this conversation is going to really, really change a lot of lives. So I just want to say thank you so much and tune into the rest of the live for the rest of the day. And we're definitely going to be talking a lot more about this. Big up all our and big up on the daughters. They are in good hands.
Blessed love. Blessed love. More strength.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, all of you. And thank you to the audience. Thank you guys for hanging with us from morning. And we are going to go on. We have another live coming up.